Is there anything else? Oh, do we just say welcome? I didn't know. I was waiting on you.
Yeah.
You're in charge.
I was waiting for
You're not
you
in
to
charge. Don't think
shut the hell up.
Hey, save it for the
So
podcast.
I could say...
Hey, Otto, can you save it for the podcast, please?
This is the podcast.
Oh, laser projector. Oh, gloves are off. Oh, fuck.
Well, welcome to Podpodcastcast.
Welcome to Podpodcastcast, a podcast where we review podcasts. I'm Sam.
And I'm Honor.
And we're here. I wanted to say, and we're honored to be here, but I was like, we can't start it off with a pun. We
cannot. I will edit it out.
Damn it. Oh, God. Yeah, this is a podcast, which it really doesn't feel like because we're just recording this at each other.
Yep.
But yeah, this is a podcast where we are going to review podcasts. This is the inaugural episode, the first annual Podpodcast episode.
Annual? We're going to put them out once a year.
We're going to put them out once a year till we die.
There's going to be about 60 episodes. How long do you think you're going to live, Sam?
How long do I think I'm going to live? I hope more than 80. Oh, yeah, I guess that's... run on that one's tough. I think I'm going to live indefinitely. Well, okay. I think I'm going to upload myself into a robotic consciousness and live off in the vastness of space. Oh, hey, Honor, do you hear that?
Uh-huh.
Sounds like we just got passed by a segue.
A segue?
A segue to our first ever podcast that we want to talk about. Okay, so you should have listened to the promo episode, which is yet to be recorded, but don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
It's not important. Well, it is important. Stop. Stop listening.
Go
close
listen
your
to
ears.
the promo.
Go listen to the promo. We sound great.
Yeah.
We sound lovely together. I feel like we have,
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is going to be our book club episode, which, welcome to the book club. This is kind of like an ambush. You know what I mean? Like, we're like, you're clearly, the listener is not prepared for this.
No, not at all.
We're attacking them.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, you've listened to this thing, right?
Uh-huh.
So this is a book club episode. So it's just going to be me and Honor. And we're just going to talk about a thing we really want to talk about, a podcast that we like listening to.
Yeah, it will be something that both of us have listened to.
Both of us have listened to, as opposed to what we're calling our roundtable episodes, which is just us giddily yelling at each other about something that no one wants to listen to.
Yeah, and also someone else will be there.
Someone else will be there, yeah. They're not hosts. We're hosts, by the way.
We're hosts.
Yeah, you're a parasite, we're a host.
Yeah.
Welcome to our... rotten bodies, riddled with disease.
Yeah. You want to be uploaded to a computer consciousness.
Yeah. I
will probably be thrown into the sea and be something akin to whale fall.
What is that? Oh. That is not a good first laugh to be on the podcast, but something akin to whale fall. Dude, that's pretty awesome. Can you get that on your tombstone, please?
Something akin to whale fall.
Honor Christensen.
Can only hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we do it, Honor? Should I do it?
Do what?
Laser projector.
Whale fall?
Laser projector.
We'll figure out if we're going to edit that out or not.
Yeah, I know.
We've yet to decide on the rating for this podcast.
We've yet to decide if my mom can listen to this or not.
Or my sister.
Oh, yeah.
I think these are the two factors.
Okay. All right. So we've come to talk about a podcast. This may surprise you. We're not very serious people.
No.
I said, usually only serious people have podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever listened to a serious podcast, Honor?
I mean, I guess like the story-based ones.
That's the least serious. That's
I don't know.
Just unemployment. They recorded unemployment and they uploaded it.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I have listened to serious podcasts, but they weren't the best ones I've listened to.
Well, yeah, clearly.
Because they couldn't uphold their own standards, which is then a pitfall.
Whoa. Intense. Well, we have no standards.
We have none.
We have no bars. The bar is low. So we're going to start. and we want to talk about today.
We're going to start.
Our first ever podcast is not actually a podcast. It's part of a podcast.
Yep.
Today we are covering Dune, Chrysalis.
It's not Dune. You recommended this podcast to me.
I did recommend
and
it.
you always say the wrong name.
I don't always say the wrong name.
I think every single time you've said it.
Well,
to me.
The real name's dumb. Dune's also dumb. Today we are talking about Dusk. No.
Nope, not that either.
Today we're talking about Dust Chrysalis.
There it is.
Roll music?
Roll music.
Welcome to Podpodcast.
Podpodcastcast.
We put one word inside of itself. It's kind of like a word sandwich, but if you made a sandwich out of putting meat inside the same meat. Podpodcastcast, go!
Awesome. Thanks, Jasper? ? For music.
Yeah. Thanks.
We'll see what happens.
Thanks, rocks. I just want to thank all the rocks out there. I stand
So
on them.
real.
I sit on them. I throw them sometimes. They bring me a lot of joy.
Rocks are real good.
Rocks are really good. So, the podcast we're talking about today is it's called Dust.
I'll put that at the beginning.
Yeah. Hey everybody, it's Sam here. Just wanted to tell you, don't listen to this listen to the episode. I want you to write down the URL of this episode wherever you're getting it. Mm-hmm. Write it down on a pen and paper.
Yep.
Go listen to Dust Season 2, Chrysalis. It's fantastic.
Don't listen to the other ones, they're bad.
Don't listen to the other ones, very bad. We're going to spoil this entire thing.
Yep.
Okay, see you later, bye. Put that in there.
I'll put that in there.
Yeah. If you look it up on your podcatcher of choice, isn't that a terrible thing? Podcatcher.
It's awesome. I honestly really like.
It's like Dreamcatcher.
Yeah.
And it's somehow worse. You know what I mean? It's someone who would unironically say the word podcatcher to me is like worse than somebody who would have like a Dreamcatcher up in like their rear view mirror.
I don't know if that's true.
I think that's true. Since
Dreamcatchers are cultural appropriation,
yeah,
unless
and this
I'm
is
wrong.
No. Oh, well, yeah, for sure. That's why I just want to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad.
Yeah.
This is worse.
We've already started the arc of when will Sam get canceled.
Okay. Should we ever talk about the podcast?
What?
You can't cancel me is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's uncancelable.
Try, listener. I dare you.
Try.
It's impossible.
Give it a shot. Honestly, I'm just here to be entertained by whatever happens from that
I'm not
situation.
your monkey, you know.
You kind
I'm a
of are.
person. I have thoughts on podcasts.
You do.
I want to discuss them. And today we're talking about Dust. So Dust is generally a science fiction podcast. So they make they read
as opposed to a science fiction nonfiction.
Like a science fiction like people talking about science fiction. It's like a fiction podcast in that they make stories.
Yeah.
And then it's science fiction in that those stories are science fiction.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. And so in general, they just read off short stories that other people have written. I think they have some original stuff on there. And that's kind of the bit. That's Dust. So first review ever on Podpodcastcast. Dust is bad. Dust is not good. But they have several seasons. They have season 1, season 2, and season 3. Season 1, not very good. Season 3, even worse. Season 2, amazing.
Which, to be clear, I have only listened to season 2 because I listened to this because Sam recommended it to me.
Held you at gunpoint? It was a recommendation.
Yeah, it was a recommendation. But you were like, please, for the love of all things, I listened to these other seasons so that you don't have to. They're bad. Don't touch them. You'll be tempted. Don't. So I haven't listened to them.
And that is accurate. I would give that recommendation broadly to all listeners. There's a couple things in season 1 that I remember were oh, that's kind of cool, and then they end poorly. They're all bad. Mm-hmm. It's the quality of Dust is good even, but the stories are very bad. But we are going to talk about season 2, which is called Chrysalis. Yep. This story does not relate. The title of this does not relate to the story at all. Makes no sense.
It makes sense once you know, but it's not a good indicator of what it's about.
Yeah, but it also reminds me of Chrysalids from the video game series XCOM, and that's cool. It doesn't matter. I don't need to explain that.
Yeah.
The gamers get it.
Uh-huh.
I'm one of you gamers.
I'm also a
Honor.
gamer.
Honor's never gamed before, which is crazy.
Never in my life. Completely untrue. I love games.
Chrysalis is a short story written by, I think his name is S.H. Serrano, which I don't know that much about this, but I know that it started off as just like a Reddit story. Like some guy just posted this on Reddit, and then I think the producers of Dust were like, this is actually really cool. We want to make this into an audio drama, and it works really well for it, I think. I don't remember everybody involved. There's a bunch of great people that did this, but notably there is
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
ads.
Reynolds. You wouldn't think it. How did they get Ryan Reynolds to come in every 30 seconds to do an ad read? No, when I first listened to this, I don't remember any ads. It was beautiful. It was a glorious time. And second time, I just recently listened it through. Yeah, and it was just Ryan Reynolds in the middle of like really dramatic moments. Yeah, it was, might I say, the worst thing.
I thought you were funny, Ryan.
Laser projector. Cute Ryan.
He's a funny little guy.
Ryan, you're a piece
Ryan Reynolds, if you're listening to this, it was funny.
Chrysalis was written by S.H. Serrano, adapted to audio drama by Stephen Michael and Macklin Malogi, and the executive producer is Corey Hawkins,
who is also the star, I believe.
Yes, he's one of the there's two main characters in this. One of them is Matthew Wolf, and the other is Corey Hawkins, which is very cool.
Yeah.
Honor, before we get into it, I've got written down here the episodes and stuff that I want to go through. What do you so Dust is bad. Chrysalis, I'm gonna even come out and say is good.
I think it's good.
Yeah. What do you have anything you want to talk about before we get into it?
I do think it's interesting that, because also I didn't know before like 15 minutes ago that it started as a Reddit story.
Yeah, that's like a really shameful fact, right? They don't say that. They're not like, thanks to the Reddit Corporation.
Yeah. But I think that's interesting because I did think it worked really well in an audio format, and I did like spend time thinking, would this be better in a written format, or is it like meant to be in an audio format? And I think it works really well.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that a lot on the second listen through, and it's just like, I feel like if I read this, I would be like, whatever, right?
Yeah,
a lot of the word choices like that.
Yeah, it's for sure a good story. It's hard to make a judgment on if it's like a great story, because a lot of it is like, if it wasn't a podcast, I think it would suck to read. I think it would be like tedious and a burden.
Well, I almost go the other way, because I think if you read it, it would actually be quite short. And it's really
I feel like
sparse
you'd have to cut a lot out for it to be.
Well, it wouldn't be
interesting.
It would be like, I don't know, like a pamphlet. Like, it's not a short story, but it's not a book either.
A novella.
A novella, right?
Yeah.
But it's also like, there's so much, like, I don't think it says who edited these. Whoever did it, fantastic job.
Yeah.
The sound work in Chrysalis is awesome.
It's so good.
So much of, like, not the story. Obviously, they just, like, listened to what the script was.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we're going to put sound effects to that. But, like, without that, it's okay. But also, all the voice actors, most notably Matt Wolf, Corey Hawkins, fantastic job.
Yes.
Wow. Really just brings the whole thing in. Like, without, their, like, dramatic presence. Again, I don't know if this would be as good as it is.
Yeah, it's like a story that I feel like would really easily be really bad.
Yeah.
But, like,
if I saw it on Reddit, I'd be like, oh, God.
Yeah, which I'm almost like, I want to go read the Reddit story. Because I'm like,
it's out there. I know it is. Maybe,
how could it be good?
And they also say adapted. Maybe it was, like, They just read it and were like, we're going to rewrite this to make it more. Maybe it's good to read. I don't know.
On Reddit, there's a lot of like writing prompts and that sort of thing. So it could have been something kind of along those lines. Or maybe it was only like a paragraph long. And then they were like, oh, we can take this idea and run with it.
Hey, Honor.
Yeah.
Hey, Honor.
Yeah.
What if it's never been on Reddit and I totally made that up?
You could have, because you love to lie.
I do love to lie, but this wasn't intentional. I was just thinking about this. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I heard that.
I'm
pretty sure I actually even saw
shocked.
it. Yeah.
Because again, I think it would kind of suck as a written story.
Yeah, but I think that's right. I think that's what I heard. You want to Google? You want to get on your little machine?
I'll get on my little machine.
Get on the little machine.
That's what Sam calls smartphones, by the way, everybody.
Hey, Honor. I think the listener is very intelligent, and they could figure that on their own.
I just think it's funny to point out as a quirk of yours.
I think you're being paternalistic.
I
think you're being rude.
Chris.
I think you're being, and now you're not even being present. You're on your little machine there.
I'm trying to
on your
type.
Little computer.
I
Clock cycles,
So
instructions.
many times. Chrysalis.
Cache, memory. Bebop,
A
boop, boop,
Reddit.
fetching IO. Pop, 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 pop.
You're driving me crazy.
Victory! I can go home now.
You'll never guess.
What?
The answer is on Reddit.
Laser projector. Yes.
Continue. Chrysalis was originally written for r/HFY, if I remember correctly.
What is HFY?
That's my next question.
Holy laser projector. Fucking yogurt.
For sure.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I should stop swearing so much in case we need to cut all those out.
I mean, make a little noise. I'll use it to bleep. Really important decision. It stands for Humanity Whale Fall. Yeah. So if we want to bleep.
That's awesome.
You got one word right. Oh yeah, it's like sci-fi story stuff.
Gotcha.
And fantasy.
Laser projector. That's my that's my swear noise.
Yeah.
They say laser projectors so much.
In Dust?
Yeah, in Chrysalis, yeah.
I feel like I don't remember that.
They say laser projector. They say like factor. Well, God, they say like a bunch of like really technical words, like a lot.
They say a lot of technical words, which is also
but it's also the same ones. It's the same ones.
That's the other thing where I'm like, it could so easily be so bad.
Yeah. Well,
because it's so much like.
But they also don't like make fake mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Like they do like, oh, these like I'm like even when they're talking about like the most like quantum communicator or whatever, quantum relay, like even like that which is like the most abstract, like not real thing and is also like mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
Like I get like what the idea is there, you know.
Yeah, it feels like practical. Yeah.
When they're talking about, you know, can I tell you one of the favorite things about this?
Yeah.
You know what I think people are really gonna like? This podcast talks a lot about economics. It's so good.
It's unavoidable.
I love it.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault, listener.
Economics. It's good.
I can't. I
love when the little...
I can't love economics.
You know the little line? It says supply, little line says demand. But then you put them together, go weep, 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 weep. And you got a little dot in the middle. That's equilibrium. It's great. It's fantastic.
I almost did the, like... chuckle sandwich line of
audio
listeners love you to death, but we only have audio listeners, so listeners,
can you not reference other podcasts on our podcast about podcasts?
On our podcast about podcasts? Yeah, I'll work on that.
If you have comments, listeners, about Honor's unprofessionalism, please send them to us at podpodcastcastpod@gmail.com.
Great plug for the Gmail.
For the Gmail. Please, check. We check the inbox every day.
All I wanted to say was I wanted the listener to know that your eyes got really wide when you brought up that graph. And it was really funny.
I love graphs.
Same love a graph.
Should we just jump right into it?
I think we already did.
I really dislike that phrase. Not because I think it's a useful phrase, but because everyone says it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think people can get more creative.
Please, be my guest.
I really like "let's kick this pig," which is a thing my dad says a lot. I don't know if that's a common thing to say.
I feel like we've lost all the vegan listeners. I feel like we're
if we're
immediately
looking for vegan listeners, that cannot be a priority because I love barbecue so much.
We've alienated.
I'm such a carnivore.
We've alienated the Dreamcatcher people. I mean,
the
Dreamcatcher white people. You know.
Yeah. I don't want them here necessarily.
I think that's our target demographic.
I think you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. I can only hope you're wrong.
Hey, listener, if you are a big fan, and I know this is the first episode, but I'm saying a diehard fan, buy our Dreamcatcher.
No.
Now available at www.podpoddreamcatchercast.net.
We don't
/
have that website.
Dreams. /ZZZZZ. / for you. Less than heart. Oh wait, less than 3.
Laser projector.
Less than heart. Good job, Sam. Anyways.
Yeah, should we go?
Yeah, let's kick this pig.
Chrysalis starts. Part 1 is called Awake. And if you don't listen to the promo, it might be a little confusing at first. I thought about that when I listened to it the second time through. It doesn't explain like who is talking or what they are.
Yeah, no. Which, to be fair, like I skipped the promo. I didn't listen to it when I first listened
Child.
to the podcast. So like it was a little bit like, okay, who is this? But then it was like I wasn't thrown off by that necessarily.
Sure.
It was like, okay, who is this? How did they survive?
Right.
Well, it's an AI.
Yeah. So, our narrator immediately describes like the apocalypse. They're from Earth, and there's some sort of like alien invasion. Like spaceships come out of the sky and just start blasting.
Yeah.
They describe Earth as like this really kind of horrifying like wasteland, like where there's streams of like lava. Like everything is destroyed. The oceans are evaporated. Like everything is gone.
Yeah.
And then you realize pretty quickly that they are not a person, they're an AI.
Yep.
And so this AI is like, they have the mind of a person. They feel like a person, but they're in like this artificial environment. Like it's
like this expanse. It's because it's like everywhere that has a connection.
Right. So yeah, they start connecting with like drones and factories and stuff, and they send out drones to look for survivors. Like, and for years they do this, and they don't find anybody. Like the human species is totally and completely extinct.
Yep.
And then, how exactly does it happen? I think, doesn't it describe like, the narrator describes like looking at like the charred like bodies and skeletons, like the hollow eyes, and it's like, I need to get revenge from the monsters that live in the sky. Like the night sky, that's where the monsters live. Yeah,
it's like the sky is where bad things are.
I think we've both successively messed up that quote.
Well, he says it multiple times, so it's less a quote and more an idea that he keeps repeating through the whole thing. Is like, the sky is where the evils lie.
Ooh. A rhyme, you say?
I didn't even do that on
I
purpose.
don't mind if I do.
Whale fall.
Me, that's what I eat. That's what I eat. Rhymes. Yeah, I'm a rapper.
You're not a rapper.
I'm not a rapper.
You're like a.
I'm not a rapper.
Who
does that guy? That's a guy on YouTube who says, "I'm not a rapper." You know the clip where it's the guy going, "This is my girlfriend's number," and the other guy takes it and he goes, "That's the wrong number." And there's a crowd of people around him that go, "Oh!" It's a very famous like reaction gif.
Yeah.
Of, "Oh!"
Yeah.
You know. I wonder how that O is going to pick up on the mic.
I don't know.
I don't know either. This AI like decides, it's like, there's nothing for me here on Earth. I'm going to go get vengeance for humanity. I'm going to go to space.
Mm-hmm.
What follows is like kind of the most like metal like construction montage, which I didn't know you could do a montage in audio, but you can.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's also like so much of the series is these like montages and these like series of the AI like building stuff, which does not sound interesting at all. But somehow they don't lose you.
But the visual like is really interesting.
Yeah.
He hollows out Mount Everest to make an obelisk.
Yeah.
An obelisk, which is crazy. I'm imagining, you know what obelisk is?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm imagining a big, like, black, like, Egyptian obelisk.
Mhm.
I guess it just have writing on it or whatever. But
Nah.
27 kilometers wide. Now, this may be surprising to you, dear listener. Me and Honor are American. So I reckon that's about 3 foot. No, what?
Do you not know like a 5K?
Okay, 5K, 3, 25, 15 miles. Wow, that's pretty big.
Yeah.
That's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
I can go farther than that. I can go farther than 15 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Not that impressive.
All right.
So for like 20 years, right? 20 years, he hauls out Mount Everest and makes this obelisk. Which is like, I don't know. I just think that's like, it's very cool.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, he talks about stalling for years. Like, he's like, yeah, I knew I could have blasted off like 3 years ago,
Yeah.
but I just like decided to do other things, which is like a really, I don't know. So one of the most fascinating things about this for me
Mhm.
is the idea of like, what is it like to be human when you take, I want to say take the humanity away. That's not that interesting.
Mhm.
But when you like, when you take away like the human constraints, right?
Yeah.
When you take away being trapped in one body, when you take away like, living for only like a finite period of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that is a huge part of the show, and like the first episode, there's really strong themes of like, the AI thinking about that kind of thing consciously, and like looking at the human and like feeling like a part of them. Like for a little bit, you wonder if, like, is this a person or is it an AI? Because
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
he also talks about like being a person at one point and having human memories.
But it doesn't know. Like he does not know himself.
Yeah.
Whether he was a person, he doesn't know if any of that's real, and that's
but it's
super
like,
fascinating.
Because it's AI, it is not a human, but it is convinced it is a human and is a human creation, and so is like, where's the line? Where's it blur? Is it a human?
But also because I'm listening to Matt Wolf talk.
Yeah.
Matt Wolf, by the way, gamers, welcome back. Matt Wolf voices the dad of the main character in Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Mm.
That's all I know about Matt Wolf. He's not an easy guy to Google.
Yeah.
It's fine, but there's other. Anyway, whatever. I totally forgot what we were.
Humanity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I'm listening to Matt Wolf talk to me in his very lovely British accent.
Yeah.
I'm so inclined to believe that he's a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm already there. Like the whole time, I am like, this is not a robot. This is a guy.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing his inner monologue. I'm hearing, how he feels, and he's talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's a person.
Yeah.
I'd take that for granted.
Yeah. So. But he stalls, which is also like, he has all these like human moments of being like, yeah, I didn't want to leave Earth.
But then
I was kind of nervous.
But instead of stalling for minutes, he stalls for years.
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah, that's like the constraint that's removed, is that he could just like.
But also,
like,
while he's
waste
stalling, he's
everything.
like redesigning rocket engines.
Yeah.
And like it's
Turning Mount Everest into a rocket.
Yeah. He also builds. So he's getting ready to blast off, but he builds this 1 kilometer wide base pyramid in like. Where did he say? I thought it was East Africa,
remember.
but I think he said Southwest Africa. The proposed origins of humanity, and just this little like pyramid. I don't know. That like doesn't get brought up. Well, it gets brought up a little bit later.
Mm.
I think that is like so interesting. Anyway, but the whole reason he's in Mount Everest and all this stuff is he doesn't want any like of the aliens outside that could be there to know.
Yeah.
Except. So I think it is. No, at the end of the first episode, blasts off, goes into outer space. I think that's right. Then in, maybe, well, I don't remember.
It is, because I re-listened to the first episode, recently. I re-listened to a couple of the episodes, and it is like at the end of the first episode, he gets all these signals coming at him, and he doesn't understand them, and then finally one comes through in a human language.
Yeah, English. He says specifically English.
He says English? I couldn't remember if he did.
English, yeah.
which is like a very Eurocentric view of like
Anglo-centric.
English-centric.
It's not in German. The Germans are eradicated. The English, they survive.
I guess. But yeah, just like there's only one remnant of humanity, and it's a British AI.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, the British are really like the cockroaches of the earth.
That's really true.
They'll never be eradicated. It's impossible. Which is great. Dreamcatcher people, gone. Someone else, gone.
Vegans.
Vegans. Get out of here. Vegans gone. British gone.
Yep.
I just want to slowly alienate everyone.
Yeah.
That's my goal. So he goes in outer space. It's not, he looks down at Earth and it's just like this charred husk.
Yeah.
Then a set of, one ship, 3 ships? One ship.
I think it's a couple.
It might be 3 ships. I think it's 3 small ships come up to him. And he's like, these are the aliens. It's here. And then they try to talk to him a bunch of different stuff he doesn't understand. And then they finally try to talk to him in English. And they're like, hey, what does it say? Like, basically.
It's like identify yourself.
Yeah. And then
It's like, where did you come from?
Yeah. And then he shoots out one of the drones in his body and detonates a nuclear bomb. They all die, which is crazy. Nukes are so effective.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He does go straight to nukes.
Big nukes. Yeah, so that's the first episode. And then in the next episode.
We got to speed through these, by the way. We don't have time to spend as much time as we did on the first one.
Well, it's important. It's important to get the context of the first one. It drives everything else.
Yeah, for sure.
Boom. After that, part 2, dead space. They come after him again with warships. He does a bunch of different stuff, and you realize that he's kind of getting accustomed to space. He makes, which are going to be staples through the rest of the thing, these assault soldiers. Mm-hmm. At first, he makes this robot or big spider dog.
I think he says a spider dog. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the size of a dog, but it's like a spider that has a machine gun on it. And he's like, it feels icky. It feels weird. Mm-hmm. And so he scraps that design, even though it'd be really good at boarding alien ships.
Yeah.
He makes a man. He makes a little man. And then he fights these other warships that come into the solar system. And he puts his little men, on their ship and takes it over to get a bunch of their technology. And then he destroys them. Mm-hmm. And then he realizes that there's another outpost in the solar system. He's like, I gotta go after it. Bow bow.
Yeah.
Then we get to part 3, the game.
The game.
Which is where this really gets interesting.
Yep. Which I re-listened to the game today. And it starts and it uses all this extremely descriptive, kind of brutal imagery, and it's very sensory, and then it's this is my plate of food.
yeah, it's very good.
And so because you think at first that you're still with the AI, and it's destruction, desolation, and it's this guy at a dinner with he's an ambassador,
right?
Is what you find out.
So this is not narrated by Matt Wolf. This is Corey Hawkins, the executive producer.
Yeah. But it just completely switches gears with no warning.
It's pretty good.
To just this little guy who also he describes himself, and it's his alien species, which also, spoiler alert, you see him from outside perspective later, and he's described as kind of looking like a little silver fox kind of person.
No, that is the other person.
That's the other person?
Yeah.
Am I whale fall? Stupid. I thought that was Dowkit.
All right, so this is Dowcat. Dowcat is
this is Dowkit.
He's
a agile, lithe kind of
He's a little
silvery.
Yeah, his body is smooth. The AI describes him as almost looking a little reptilian.
A little reptilian.
Yeah.
I thought Dowkit was a little fox.
No, hairless. I think so.
He's a little alien, but he's just kind of a little guy.
He's just a little guy, so he's...
That's the important part, really, is that he's a little guy.
So we get to learn a lot about the rest of the galaxy. So we have learned thus far that our AI buddy is fighting what they call the Zunvir Republic.
Yep.
Which are all these ships that he's been fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And in the episode before, we find out what they finally look like when he boards their ship, which is they're kind of these big, massive, like, kind of like tentacle face guys with 4 eyes.
Yeah.
I'm imagining kind of like Mind Flayer.
Yeah.
With 2 more eyes.
Yep. I'm seeing like Mind Flayer, Cthulhu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so Dowket is at the capital of the Zunvirian Republic, Zunvir, and he's an assistant ambassador from some place called the Federal Council?
Something like that?
Yeah, okay, our Chrysalis lore is not up to stuff.
Well, okay, so here's the thing that I think is interesting about Chrysalis. There's a lot of, like, specifics and technicalities in it, not the important thing. And somehow also not really a burden.
It's such a beautiful, like, foray into world building. As somebody who really loves it, it's just like, oh, I want to know all these other things.
Yeah.
I get that but it's great because the world building is good and also the story is good.
Yes.
Which you can so get lost in.
Yeah.
Just build the world and not, like, have a good
Yeah.
narrative.
Because it is like, okay, there's all these other details and they're interesting to get into, but also if you miss them, you don't.
Doesn't matter.
Which is really important for podcasting in particular, because in an audio format,
Can't reread.
Mm. Way more difficult to go find the detail you missed.
Sure. So Dowket has been moved to this post in Zunvir as the assistant ambassador to the Zunvirian Republic from the Federal Council, and he's like kind of bemoaning this. Like he's like, I'm getting gypped. Like I want to be where all the big diplomatic action is in the core worlds, and now I'm on like the fringes of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Then the ambassador, his mentor, Nakstani, comes over and is like, you actually are an idiot and a buffoon. There's something going on here, and that's why I requested you. And he's like, she requested me? Oh, man.
Yeah.
I feel bad about myself.
I feel bad.
And
he starts to notice things.
Yeah, she's like, read between the lines. And he's like all the big wigs are here from all of the Zunvirian Republic. And they like look like they're laughing and having a great time at this kind of like banquet. But like also some of them are talking in the corner. And like also like it looks like rehearsed and hollow. And he's like, they're putting on a show for us.
Yep.
They want to seem strong for us. And she's like, great, you're not an actual total idiot. You need to go talk to this ship captain. Mm-hmm. And he says, okay, I'll go do it. And he does. And what the ship captain tells him is that, you know, he's like, is there like a war? Is there something going on? And he's like, we have lost 3 solar systems and like 2 fleets, like of ships.
Yeah.
He's like, what the hell's happened to him? He's like, it's something out there. There's a ghost, and we're calling it the Terran.
Yep.
What the
laser projector?
So we know our boys shooting them aliens good. Let's go. Let's go.
Yep.
So after that, we go to the Swarm, which is part 4 of the Swarm. We go back to the Terran's perspective, and you get a sense that he has been very successful. So he's taken over these solar systems. He's got these resource extractors. He's kind of set up outposts in different solar systems to make factories, to make more drones that he's using. He's got this massive like swarm of drones.
Yeah.
And he's also started constructing these like support ships. You got to get a sense that they're like these large carriers for more drones. Mm-hmm. And he's connected to all these things. And then he's going to go attack this next place because he's reverse engineered all this technology from the Zunvirians. So he's rapidly progressing. He's got lasers and shields and all this malarkey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's going to go attack this place, and he goes into warp space. This is the first time we get, like, you know, interstellar travel. And he, like, becomes alone because he can't communicate with anything outside of his, you know, he lives in that obelisk, his body, what he keeps referring to his body. And he's like, I'm used to be connecting to all these things across multiple solar systems, and now I'm alone. Like, I'm small again. Which I think is, again, really interesting to have, to kind of be forced back into a human constraint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is a really interesting, like the way they portray the almost omniscience
Mm-hmm.
of it, of
Yeah.
like being present in all these different things at once, is really well done, and I think works really well in an audio format.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when you're looking at a thing, there's always this kind of disconnect, even if
Sure.
it's from like a first person kind of deal.
Right.
But like audio, it's like it's just in your head,
Yeah.
like in the way our brains conceive of it. It's like if you're looking at something, oh, it's over there. But if something is getting in your ears, you're like there's a reason there's voices. We talk about like voices in your head and like that kind of thing.
you
It's
have
like
those.
inside
Okay.
you that
That's
you
fine.
like hear things.
Yeah.
Which I think is interesting and like does give, when I was thinking about like, okay, is the podcast the best medium for this? I was like, yeah, because so much of it has to do with like consciousness.
Well, also, essentially, especially all from the Terrence perspective, is just it's his thoughts, it's his own narration,
yeah.
which is like, I mean, you just couldn't do that in,
Mhm.
you know, if you were making a movie. This
no, it would
movie
suck
would
as a movie.
blow.
It would be so
Such a good
bad.
story blows a movie. It'd be
Yeah.
terrible.
It's like maybe it could be a book, but like it's got to be the audio.
For sure. So then I'm going to skip a little bit, but we're going to go to part 5, Fallout, which is we hear at the end. We're back to a Dowcat episode. Dowcat's narrating, and he's like, "We've gone to this planet called Yovin, or Yovid,
Yovid.
not Yavin from Star Wars, whatever. We've gone to Yovin or Yovid, whatever."
Whatever it is, this planet.
Because this is like where they think the Terran's coming next.
Yeah.
And he's like, we've just been like hanging around out here, and like I've been like taking agricultural tours.
Yeah.
And he's just in his apartment, and Akstani's at this like command center, like it's an administrative building,
Mm-hmm.
and she's just been like hanging out there, and then it goes down.
Yeah.
Right? There's a warp tunnel. We see it's opening. It's going to be like something's going to be here in a couple hours,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not approved to be here. Like this is it. This is the big thing.
Yep.
And she stays in this administrative building even when like the military guys try to boot her out.
Yeah.
And boom, Terran pops in. Huge ship, has these huge support carriers,
Yeah.
and the defending like Zunvirian like battle fleet demolished. Totally destroyed.
Toast, dude.
Freaking toast, brother. I don't know, Honor, if you feel this way.
Mhm.
I love a good battle.
Yeah.
The way it describes like tactics and stuff in this, I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Really enjoy.
Which is just another thing that it's like, this could suck so bad.
Yeah.
Because battle descriptions are so hard to do right without being just like boring as hell.
Yeah, like it could be over gratuitous, like too detailed. But it can
Yeah.
also be like if somebody has like only ever fought their little Lego men together, like
Yeah.
clearly this person has like thought out some ideas of like what strategy and like conflict in space
Mhm.
looks like.
Yeah, it's like the interesting parts of strategy without sucking and being uninteresting.
Yeah. It's awesome. They kind of they're like, this is crazy. Like the Terran ships are bigger than anything else
Mhm.
we've ever seen, but also like the Terrans, like they must be suicidal because they like will ram their ships into things. Like they, they
yeah.
have these huge support carriers, and they just will like accelerate faster than like you could to support any life. Like I think he says if like anybody in there would be paced.
Yeah.
And then they like just ram into shit, and they like are blowing up like nukes all the time.
Yeah, it is like, I forgot that was a thing of like, because at first people thought that there were like people on these ships.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, they don't have to worry about like being alive.
Yeah. It's super interesting. So Dowcat, next time he's like, you got to get out of here. He like runs to their ship, meets their pilot, gets on their ship, starts taking off, and because like basically it's like understood. Next time he's not getting out of here.
Yeah.
And she tells him like in like a garbled message that he passes on to the federal council. It's an exponential replicator. Type G galactic emergency.
Type G galactic emergency.
Oh my god, no! Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
Yeah.
Can we put the Minions GIF in this podcast?
In this audio form?
Yeah, can we
Can we get a GIF?
can we compress that visual and data into
Yeah.
an audio format?
Y'all get to work on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Honor knows how them computers do. Honor know what them computer like.
For sure. Yeah.
And then his ship gets shut down.
Crashes. Into episode.
End of story. That's actually how it all ends. It's crazy.
Sam loves to lie.
I'm a liar. The next episode is called Overture, which doesn't make any sense. And
No, it doesn't, but it is like my favorite episode. But it's like, why is it called that?
Doesn't make
in
any
any
sense.
way.
Yeah, so the Terrans, like, basically, it's just bombing the planet. Detonates a bunch of nukes. The defending fleet is destroyed, and then it sends out its soldiers to, like, even though it's a apocalyptic wasteland, except it doesn't, it's like oceans are still there. Like, it's still interesting to hear, like, the Terran, like, narrate, oh, I'm being merciful. Like, it keeps justifying its own actions.
All these justifications. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I'm getting my retribution. It's like, but it's like, it's not
It's not as bad as what they did to Earth.
not even close,
Yeah.
right? Sends out his soldiers, like, talks in detail about how it kills the remaining survivors.
Yeah.
But then it comes to this, like, crash spaceship that looks, like, different. And you're like, could it be? It puts its little guys on the spaceship. Our boy Dowcat is there. Let's go.
Dowcat.
Oh my god, he's not dead.
He survived.
Anyway,
Real quick,
yeah.
they did really make it seem like he died at the end of the previous episode. Like, to the point that I was sitting there being like, why would they introduce this narrator just to kill him off that
He does
quick?
get hit by a missile.
Yeah. And I really thought he was dead.
Makes no sense that he would survive.
Yeah, and there he is.
It's awesome.
It was awesome.
Him and the pilot are badly injured but have survived. The Terran is like, I realize, like, these people aren't Sunverians. Like, these are not the people that killed me.
Yeah.
Killed my, everything. He's like, okay. Well, I'm going to extend an olive branch, is what he says.
Yeah.
He provides them with medicine, gets them out of their crash spaceship, makes them a new spaceship.
Yeah.
But,
like, builds one.
And the whole time is, like, contemplating, what if I just killed him anyway?
Yeah.
It's like, I could do it. It'd be so easy. But
it'd be so much easier than all this whale fall.
But he, like, there's something that, like, holds him back from that. He's like, this is not, they should go and tell stories of my mercy.
Yeah.
After I destroy this planet.
Yeah, because it is, like, he's so concerned with, like, being sure he remains human.
Yeah, I forgot to say, but in the episode 4, The Swarm, that's the episode where he has, I think that's the episode where he's, like, reliving this memory via one of his assault droids of, like having this blanket and watching TV on, like, a Sunday afternoon. Like, he like, makes this whole stage, which is, like, really...
Yeah.
Because then he's not completely a robot, because he's, like, dedicated all this, like, effort to this weird reliving of a memory a memory he doesn't remember very well, but like has all the information about, right? He knows everything about the TV show he watched. He knows has all of human information.
Yeah.
Anyway, in a similar, like, kind of human way, he, like, makes them the spaceship. They take off, and he's like, well, I can't undo that now. They're like, they warp away. Episode 7, time dilation. We basically just listen to Dowcat, like, reel with the repercussions, like how he's feeling about being escorted off of, like, a doomed planet.
Yeah.
By
also,
a
like,
murdering machine.
Yeah, like, it wasn't any of his skill or anything.
Nope.
Like, he just, like, kind of sits there and gets, like, taken care of.
Yeah.
And then leaves and is like, okay, why me?
Yeah. We also talk about warp, which is interesting, again, from a world building perspective. Like, time passes rather quickly for you. It's several days for you, or no, it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But for everyone else, it's like days or weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
He comes out of warp and gets a direct line with like the big guy in the Federal Council of Diplomacy stuff, and he's like, "Hey, this is what I think. It's a replicator. Like this is like a machine doing this."
Mm.
He's like, "We really need to like argue for peace here. I think it's like sentient." And the guy's like, "Okay, we have a weapon. Like we have a weapon. And we're gonna try to kill it."
Yeah.
And Duckett's like, "That's not a good idea."
Mm.
Well, that lines up really well with part 8, Momentum. Again, these names are falling apart more and more.
Not good.
It's terrible. I don't think they thought about these at all.
No.
So in some of the previous episodes, we hear about, the Terran talk about logistics. The Terran kind of stops seeing itself almost in this way of being a general in charge of these drones, but being a nation, being, an empire unto itself. And so it's like, well, I want to take out. It's learning more about the Zonvirian culture, Zonvirian Republic in general. So he's like, there's this planet. It's called Anakax Farvan, and it's the industrial hub. Which is crazy for you to have an interstellar species and one guy makes all the thing. I'm just saying this seems like this was going to happen. I don't think this is the Terran's fault. I think it's poor planning.
Yeah, not good.
And so this is where all the factories are. This is where everything is made.
Mm.
The Terran's going to take it out, and that's it. It's gonna the Empire's going to crumble from within because they're not going to have any supplies for anything else.
Yep.
Goes there. The Federal Council's there. Freaking crazy. And they're like, hey, stop being bad boy. We don't like it. And then the Terran's like, I'm going to talk to these people because he's never responded to anybody else. Doesn't respond to the Zonvirians.
No, he just kills them.
Just kills them, like the good guys. And then he responds to the Federal Council and he's like, you're not my enemy. I want to go around you. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, I can't.
Nah.
But we also what is actually important is that they talk. And they're like, hey, we can do negotiated settlement. We can respect your right to exist. You just need to give back all the systems you took. We need you to maybe pay reparations. We need you to say you're not going to expand exponentially because it's really scary.
Yeah.
And Terran's like, no, absolutely not. They killed my species. And they're like, what? And he's like, one of the things I love about this is that the Terran is kind of like what we all want to be in a way, which is like, the Terran's always doing something really, it's doing everything it wants to do really well.
Yeah. Hyper competent.
It's a great power fantasy.
Yeah.
Because they're like, well, we need to look into these allegations. And then, because of course, it's like an AI that has access to all information, just is like immediately hands them a folder, Maybe
does it literally send them a file?
Yeah. And he's like, this is all the information of all the recordings and everything about when they kill their planet. And they're like, oh. Which is you just feel like you would go, yes. Oh. It's so interesting that he always is just doing exactly what he wants it to do.
Yeah.
But again, it's because, it's outside that humanity, right? Yeah. It's because it's a super powerful machine. Mm-hmm. Anyway. Unsurprisingly, talks break down.
Yeah.
And anyway, so talks break down. They start shooting. The Terran starts shooting the Zonvirians. The Council starts shooting the Terran. Mm-hmm. And it describes this big battle. There's all these different ships from this council that must span the entire galaxy. They're totally different. And for once, the Terran's actually it's not struggling, but coming up with a bigger challenge. There's a bunch of different things going on, and it's this very cool battle. And then the Terran's it's about to crest the wave, and it's gonna win. It's about to overwhelm when everything gets funky. What is that? What is that song?
Funky.
Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't.
Is it it's not the Cupid Shuffle. Oh, it's the cha-cha
What's the
slide.
other one? Yeah.
It's the cha-cha slide. It gets all cha-cha slide up in there.
Yep.
And so the Federal Council uses their weapon, and basically what happens is they start jamming the Terran. All of its communications get scrambled. It gets really confused. It talks about having these multiple like images in its head of what is happening around it. And then apparently they have this big ship with just a big laser cannon, and they just
annihilate it.
Start ripping through it. Next episode, things are bad. Terran is like, I'm cutting off all communications. I'm going to die. Like, they're killing me.
Yeah.
I can't talk to this like massive swarm of like millions of machines I have. Mm-hmm. This is no good. And it really like you see it like make this plan. It instead of using its transmitter, it makes a new thing that has a different kind of transmitter, and so it talks to things, but it's worse. And so basically he survives for a little bit and he decides to run away. He's like, I just got to run away. Got to go real fast.
Yeah.
And then he starts running away. The guys chase after him. The drones are right behind him. Honor, can you guess what's going to happen next?
What happened next, Sam?
He blowed up all the drones and it killed all the guys.
He blowed up all those drones and they killed all the guys.
It's so sad.
Yeah. It's like nuclear bombs everywhere.
Basically it's just like
a lot of nukes.
Just like something like, tens of thousands of nuclear weapons explode and kill everything.
It's bonkers. But it's like injured after that, which is crazy because it up to this point has been hyper competent.
Yeah, right?
And like not lost anything.
And it's like it's like innards are exposed to the vacuum of space, like there's fires coming out of it.
And one thing that we didn't mention earlier was that it made this like set of rules for itself in an attempt to keep its humanity. I think it was maybe shortly after deciding to make the humanoid soldiers instead of like the spider dogs.
Yeah.
Because it was like I'm straying too far from the path, basically. Mm-hmm. And one of those rules, I think the main ones, I think there were maybe 3, but the 2 I remember are that it was going to have only one. Is this the same rule? It was that it was going to only have one like body, and it wasn't going to have like backups of itself elsewhere.
Right.
So it was like if this like ship body is destroyed, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And so then it has to make a choice in this moment.
Right.
About am I gonna like die, or am I going to like cross this line?
Yeah.
And it does.
What? And we're but before that.
It's okay. To the important stuff.
That's the important stuff. Episode 10, Revelation. Basically, Dowcat gets back to Zunvir, talks to the Emperor. We didn't even get into the politics of the Zunviran Republic.
No.
Give me a role-playing game where I can just be in this world. That's all I want. I want to shoot some squid men. We could make that.
Maybe we're gonna make that. Maybe we're gonna release a game like
coming new to the line of games
based on podcasts we've reviewed.
Hey, sign up for our Patreon.
Yeah,
sign up for the Patreon.
That we for sure have.
We have a Patreon. We have a Patreon.
We do. You love lying. Whalefall.
Sign up for the Patreon, and we will release a fully fledged.
Tabletop
RPG, which we have the license to.
For sure.
Anyway, Revelation. Dowcat goes talk to the Emperor and is like, what the hell happened? You killed like this whole species? And the Emperor's like, yes, we definitely did 300 years ago. And it gets into this history, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
So there's all these tribes of Zunvirians. And basically, it used to be this big empire, and they would go out and conquer stuff. When they conquered something, the tribe that paid the guy to conquer it got like, all the money. Got like the exclusive rights to use it or whatever.
It became like a game.
Yeah.
They gamified conquest.
I mean, I think that is just imperialism.
Maybe. But I felt like it was more like, oh, you get points.
I don't think it's points. I think it's just like you got the exclusive rights to like mine this stuff, like get all the resources and stuff. Like you would just be very wealthy.
Yeah.
And then but caveat, if you found any like sentient species, they belong to the emperor. So the emperor actually got all the money.
Yeah.
So this tribe bankrolls this guy, go conquers a place, finds the humans, which actually means they're going to lose money on this whole thing. So they
Take them out.
just wipe out the human. Like, that's crazy if that's how we die, right?
Yeah. Some other alien species decides you're a financial loss.
Yeah.
Extinction. Complete and utter.
And, like, Doc Ed is, like, horrified, and, like, we should be too, but I'm just like, that's so fascinating, because that would happen. Like, as somebody who, like, I'm a history boy, and particularly interested in, like, the history of Africa, and a lot of African history, you know, in the past 200 years, dominated by colonialism and imperialism.
Yeah.
And that's the thought process. You know what I mean? You do terrible, terrible things to people to, like,
of that money.
To make, like, government revenues go up.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It is bonkers.
But it's so, like, I know, like, the Zonvirians are alien. That's such a human thing. It's such a human thing.
It's such a story about humanity.
Yeah. That's what's
like very much so when there are no humans.
And that's what's great about this, like, this story is that it's like this space opera, right?
Yeah.
But it constantly explores these, like, deep human, like, ideas.
Yeah.
And, like, tendencies and, like, what is it to be human? It's, like, constantly a question. And then we also see, like, it's so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Then, cut to back, episode 11, Genesis. This one actually makes sense. This is what Honor was talking about, right?
Breaks all the rules.
Breaks all the rules. It gets back to its, like, favorite solar system. And it's like, I'm at home, I'm safe, I'm also broken.
Yeah.
I've got all these resources. I don't want to die. Like, I have to finish my retribution. So it backs up its memory. It backs up its consciousness.
Yep.
To a bunch of different servers. Should it die, it'll be re-uploaded there.
Yeah, which is then like, okay, you're not mortal anymore.
You're not mortal. It was like, I have to keep this because he's like, he I think he even says, like, I knew death was part of being human.
Yeah. But now I've gotten rid of that.
It's like, then it gets rid of the human assault drones, goes back to the spider dogs. It's like, it was sentimental and efficient.
Yeah.
And then I think there's another one that it breaks, but then the big one is that it is like, okay, the super weapon jams me, right? So how do we overcome that? We're gonna make, like, more me's, basically, right? So it takes these brain scans of people, does some techno magic, like, mushes them together and makes new AIs.
Makes new AIs, makes its, like, children.
Essentially, it just makes new people. It makes it doesn't make it as smart as it is. It makes it, like, have the capacity for, like, the human size of brain. Yeah.
And it also starts to put limitations on it to, like, control them so they won't disobey it.
This is, I think, really fascinating thing I understand least, which is that it puts one of them in a like a space, you know, like a drone. It puts one of these minds in a drone, and then it's like, I need you to, like, shoot these other drones, and it's like, I don't want to do it. I want to play and be a little guy.
Yeah.
And then it, like, escapes, and it's like, wow, look at the majesty of space. And then the Terran just puts a mental shackle on it.
Yep.
Does brainwashing with ones and zeros. Basically implants all the memories and, like, rage that it has about the destruction of the planet. It's like, you need to be a soldier.
It, like, gives it emotions that it doesn't naturally have.
Yeah.
Which is, like, a crazy
idea
thing to think about.
Yeah. Because it's also like, all these minds, all these machines know that these memories aren't theirs.
Yeah.
And that they've been put there, but they still feel them.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Because they're made of ones and zeros.
I would never do that.
It's crazy.
I want to be made I want to be made of meat. I want to be a little squishy meat man.
The squishy meat man. You changed your mind about getting uploaded?
Well, you know, it's not an option. I'll change allegiance at a moment's notice.
This is true.
What's the robots come after us?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm in for sure at that point.
But not for now.
Not for now.
For now, you're above that.
For now, I'm meat all the way.
Yeah.
And makes this army. It uploads the smartest brains into these support ships. It uploads some of the other brains into these drones that control other drones. So it makes like this army of lieutenants and sergeants. And it's like, hey, it sends some of them off to like go conquer other solar systems. And then it gets this transmission that is like, interesting. Well, I guess I'm going to go attack Zunvir directly because that's what this transmission told me to do. Interesting.
Yeah.
Part 12. Blade's Edge. We're back to Dowcat. The Emperor has been taken in a coup.
Yeah.
Zunvir is in chaos.
Yep.
Dowcat meets one of the guys from the Anakex tribe who live on Anakex Farvin, and he's like, "What's going on?" The Anakex guy is basically like, "Yeah, we're doing a little epic coup. We're an independent country now, and we side with the Terran."
Yeah.
Like our country is also Anakex Farvin was like severely damaged in the fighting that happened over the planet.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, we're all gonna starve to death. We're with the Terran now. Lol. Bye.
Bye. Because now it won't kill us.
Yeah. Also, I told it to come here and kill everyone.
Yeah.
You can't. I guess that doesn't come across. How would you describe?
Sam's making cute little peace signs.
I feel like I made like the diva from Overwatch. That
yeah.
Like kawaii.
Yeah.
Would you say I'm kawaii, Anna?
I would say you're going for it.
Perfect. Awesome. Dowcat's like, you're a bad person. I don't like you. And the other guy's like, I don't care. Dowcat's like, will you pretty please let me talk to it? You talk to the Terran. Please let me talk to it.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever, fine. And then Dowcat's like, hey. He presses the button to talk to the Terran that's like now hovering over the world. It's like, hey, hello. Hi. That's it.
Yeah.
Right, that's the okay.
End episode.
This is the big one.
Yep.
Can you guess what this episode is called, Honor?
I don't even remember. I remember the last one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something stupid.
It is part 13. Contact. Which sounds like a beginning. It is not.
Nope.
Contact makes way more sense for the one before this, but whatever.
Yeah.
We get the battle from the Terran's perspective. It attacks Zunvir. There's like nothing there.
There's nothing there.
A lot of the ships have been evacuated because the Anakex guys were like, hey, you should leave on false pretenses. Mm-hmm. And then like it's just Meekard remains and it annihilates it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, my body's a tool. Yep. I'm going to use it like a tool. And it starts heading to like crash into the planet.
Yeah. Which was not an option before because it was like, I'm confined to this one sentience.
Yeah. No longer. Now it's just like obsolete, inefficient.
Yep. All efficiency. Which it almost connects to like what happened to Earth where it's like, oh, you made our number go down.
Oh, interesting.
So
I didn't think about that.
It's like efficiency over humanity.
Yeah. It's just like, it's an optimization function, right?
Yeah.
It's just calculus.
Yep.
Just go do the thing. Then here's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And you don't need to think of anything else along the way.
Yeah, no other things to consider like morals or whatever.
Yeah.
Don't need to worry about that.
So then we get the stuff that Dowcat says in the previous episode. Now we get it again. But we get that Terran starts to talk back to it. Then we have the most interesting dialogue in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Basically, Dowcat's like, I'm really sorry what happened to you. And then the Terran's like, that doesn't matter. Like, you can't bring anybody back. They're all dead. Yeah. They took our future. I'm going to take theirs. I'm going to take everything from them.
Yeah.
But then it's almost hard to follow this line of logic.
Mm-hmm.
But it's essentially Dowcat kind of keeps goading the Terran into, being like, what you're doing is crazy. Everyone who committed this atrocity is dead. It's 300 years old.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing nothing. There's no one to give justice to.
Yeah, it's like, okay, like, we can't bring anyone back by being sorry. You also for sure can't bring anyone back by, like, exacting revenge or even like get the people who did this. Like they're all dead. They're all dead.
And then, which is like so obvious, kind of after Dowkit hits him with the, this isn't retribution. Like this isn't for anyone.
Yeah.
This is for you.
Yeah.
You're doing this so you have a meaning. Because even in the very first episode, the Terran talks about, I could just like shut off.
Yeah.
Just shut everything down.
Yeah, like what's the point?
But then it felt like it was like obligated.
Yeah. It's like, okay, here's the reason.
Yeah. But and then the Terran, so Dowkit says this, the Terran is like, that's what I was worried about. Like, is this just for me? Am I not doing this?
Yeah, it is like a confrontation of like, yes, you have lost your humanity.
Right.
Because this isn't for humanity.
Yeah.
Because they're gone.
Right.
It's just you.
Yeah. That's exactly what happens. The Terran is like, yes, I am human, like emphatically. And then I don't remember exactly what it said, but Dowkit's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And like that's the moment. Like it's the Terran's like, oh, I'm like not. I'm not human.
Mm-hmm.
And it like has this kind of like wave of revelation.
Yeah.
It remembers how it was created. Like there's 5 scientists in like the last like waking moments of humanity that created it. Like it realizes all this stuff. It's like, I've broken all these things. I've done all this. And it's like, it's all like none of this is right.
Yeah, like really processes that like also its memories of being a human aren't its.
That is always unclear
memories.
to me. If it was ever a person or not.
No, it's that they like the scientists and people uploaded memories and like video footage and all of this stuff.
Okay.
But the AI was like convinced that it was exactly like how it gave memories to the AI it made and was like, even though they were aware that like, oh, we don't have this like thirst for vengeance, like you can't get rid of it. And they're like convinced that it's theirs. It was like the same thing with the Terran, where it was like it had these memories of being a human, but like they're not. It wasn't a human. It was given these memories.
Dear listener, dear listener, next time I'll take notes because I remember this in the opposite way. I remember that they did brain scan a guy.
Well, it was like they brain scanned people, but it wasn't like.
I thought he realized he had been human.
It was like, okay, because which this is also like I don't remember exactly the details, but I remember being like, okay, it wasn't ever, because I also remember it was like multiple people. It's again this idea of like being omniscient and in multiple places at once, which is like impossible for a human because it has all these memories, but it's like this is a larger bank of memory wealth than could have been one person's.
Is that in there?
Yeah, I believe so. It's like it's multiple people because it realizes like, oh, these memories don't quite line up. Like these couldn't have been the same life. It's multiple. But it has this like bank of human memories that made it like if its experiences are human, then it's human. Or is it?
I do not remember this at all. That's right.
This was what I got out of it.
Okay. Sure. I don't know.
Though it is also like that last episode is like convoluted and is like there's a lot of realizations happening at once.
That's right. So it realizes that it's like finally realizes it's past. It realizes like everything it's doing is wrong. It then is like I gotta stop this. Yeah. It frees all of its like
little drones.
Yeah, the minds that it made, calls them, it's like I was a monster and I made these minions. I also really like the way that Matt Wolf says it. He doesn't say minions, he says minions.
Yeah.
I made them my minions, which is lovely. Yeah. And it's like it frees them of their mental shackle. they immediately like shut down all communications like between the like different solar systems. So his brain isn't going to be backed up anymore. Like he's going to die if he's also like mid atmosphere. Like he's falling.
Yeah, it's like he can't back up. He can't take it back. He's gonna hit the planet.
All of his like little, guys in space. All of his minds are like talking to him, but he just ignores them. He's like, I don't want to know if they hate me or not. I just want to be ignorant. And then he like calculates the best way to like land and minimize casualties, and then he explodes himself.
Then he explodes.
And
so that only shrapnel hits the planet.
Yeah, and it kills like hundreds of millions of people.
But not all the people.
And not Dowcat.
Dowcat
would survive.
Yep.
Oof. The final episode. Part 13.
Dawn. Also, it's
not
13.
What?
It's 14, isn't it?
What'd I say?
13.
Part 14.
Dawn.
So that's the sound the sun makes in the morning.
Yeah. The sun makes that sound.
The sun do make that sound, though.
The sun do make that sound.
5 years later, Dowcat is back on one of the big planets in the core world at the signing of the 6th Accords. And then we just get basically kind of an epilogue on like what's happened in the galaxy, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, it's really good. It's like the human-shaped robots.
Yeah, so
are like around.
All the minds have like kind of taken on this human form. They've like become people.
Yeah.
And they've all they're all got their own personalities. It also is really interesting. He describes one of them as like decorated herself with like pulsating like light across her skin, which is like weird and interesting.
Like decoration and customization.
Decorization. Which is also like, it's a really cool idea because it's like they also don't call themselves human. They call themselves Terrans.
Yeah.
It really solidifies that they're not humans. They are like,
but they like followed them.
Yeah. And they say like, what is it? They says, the Terrans like took on forms that resembled the species that they evolved from.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. So they're really kind of solidifying themselves as different. The Terrans and I'm just about to call them the Xerox. What are they? What are the Zunvirians?
Zunvirians, yeah.
Have this peace, but they both like are really mad at each other, and like Zunvirians are like, we want our like reparations, and like the Terrans are like, yeah, we do too, and they're like, oh well, they killed each other and whatever.
Yeah.
I also forgot that like the like linchpin of that speech, like the dialogue that they have in the previous episode, is that they talk about legacy. It's like, what legacy would you like? Your legacy.
Yeah, like how do you want the humans to be remembered?
Yeah.
Do you want it to be like, oh, humanity came back and like killed everyone?
And then like when you're gone, we will celebrate that you're dead.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Anyway, Honor, edit that in the right place. Hey, Honor, make it good.
Okay. I'll get on that. Yeah, listeners, I will be editing the book club style episodes, and Sam will be editing the roundtables.
Right. And so
any stylistic differences, any errors, you know who to blame.
Listeners, if you could do me a favor and call in, our number is podpodcastcastpod@gmail.com, and say why I'm a better editor than Honor. I'd appreciate that.
I will edit that out.
I will edit it in. I'll edit back in. Before I post it, I'll edit back in.
We stuck our tongues out at each other.
It was pretty awesome. What was that?
What were you gonna say?
What is the alien guy's name? What's it?
Dowcat?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Dowcat now has taken on a assistant ambassador of his own. And Dowcat has this conversation with this Terran named Thomas, which is like Thank God there's a normal name in this whole show.
Yeah.
One normal name.
In the epilogue, essentially.
Yeah, and he talks to Thomas. He's like, hey, Thomas, we noticed, like, before your progenitor died over, the planet of Zanvir, it sent out this, like, communication.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, what was it? And Thomas is like, must have just been going through some crazy stuff. Probably nothing. I'll look into it or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, the bit is, does the Terran still survive? Like, did the Terran get copied out somewhere? Like, the Terran sent out, like, this copy of its mental state. Did it get received? Did anybody take it? We don't know because the Terran, like, stopped talking to all its minions before that. And so Talcat's like, asking Thomas about this. Thomas is like, yeah, it definitely didn't survive. I know that the Terran is dead. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay. And then he sees this one particular Terran on a balcony. Mm-hmm. And he sees him for an imperceptible moment. And they look at each other, and the Terran nods. And then it ends with this awesome line, which is his Duckett's assistant being like, do you think they're lying? And Duckett goes, no. I know they are. Diddle no!
It's awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah. And so the Terran, like, is a person now.
Yeah, what's that like? What's it like being in charge of everything and then you're just a fella?
I mean, it's what it wanted the whole time, right? Like, to be human.
I think it wanted to be...
It wanted humanity,
it wanted to be around people.
It wanted humanity. And so it's like... It got it. In this form, at least. Of being, like, you're one person among the many, among community, and, like, individualization.
Yeah.
And, like, peace. He did it again. He made the little peace signs.
I don't know what you mean. You know what's great about audio storytelling?
The lying.
It's like, that, what do they call it? What do they call it?
I don't know. I can't read your mind.
There's that thing they call it. The goop honor?
The goop?
The goop we came out of from the sea.
Oh,
the primordial ooze.
The primordial ooze.
Audio storytelling is like the primordial ooze for lying. No one can see when I lie to them. Guys,
Sam's actually really short. Fun fact.
Also, they have no reference, so they don't... Like, that's not cool is my point. Stop. I'm super tall.
He is actually the tall one.
Well, now you can't tell them that. Now I want them to think that you're the tall one.
Well, untrue.
Honor's 7 foot tall. That's crazy.
Yep.
Honor, I can't believe you got a basketball scholarship. Actually, I can because you're 7 feet tall.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it ends in this very, very cool way. It's like, what's crazy that Chrysalis does that so many things don't do anymore, or a lot of things don't do? It ends well in a satisfying way.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It ends really well. It's like final, but also just enough open that you're like, there's a future, like there's a world beyond this. It's satisfying.
It's so good.
It's really good.
I love my Terran boy.
My Terran boy.
I love Dowkett.
I love Dowkett a lot.
Such a good,
Dowkett was my favorite.
He's such a good boy.
Very good.
He watched his mentor die.
Yeah.
He sees the apocalypse like twice.
And yet he maintains sympathy.
But you also
and kindness.
That first Dowkett episode, right? Last Dowkett episode. So different. Such a different guy.
But also the same.
Oh, exactly.
Call back to the food.
Did they do character growth? Does that happen? Yes. The answer obviously is yes, listener. Which is why you should listen to this.
It's awesome. Yeah.
Podcast. It's so good.
Yeah. Even though we've spoiled everything. We've spoiled everything.
Hey, listener, if you're listening to this, stop. Go listen to Dust Season 2 Chrysalis. Come back, finish listening.
Mm-hmm. I'll put that at the beginning.
Yeah. Can put that in there.
I'll put that in there.
Yeah. Listener, hopefully you've listened to that twice now.
Editor honor here. You're welcome.
Yeah. What'd you think about that kissing sound? You like that? Really experimental. Me and Honor are kind of explorers on the big ship into the large sea of mouth sounds.
He did a lot more mouth sounds. You're welcome again. Thanks, Sam.
I don't know. Can you hear that?
Yep.
They can. Yeah. It's such a good.
It's really good.
I've made this such a
laser projector.
anything for you to edit. I'm so sorry.
It'll be awesome. I do not mind. But yeah, but also like even if you were like Whalefall, I want to listen to this episode before I decide if I want to check out.
Hey, Honor.
Chrysalis. What?
Flip it.
Flip it. You've cursed more than I have.
I don't know that that's true.
I have been keeping count.
I have not. So
You have?
I don't think you're. I think you.
been,
Hey, Honor.
you've been
People
cursing
lie
more.
all the time on podcasts. I hear it's a breeding ground for lies. I don't think you should be part of that.
But what I was gonna say, even if you listen to this first, Chrysalis, like it does such a good job of the gradual progression of
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
and making everything seamless and believable, which like makes these shifts in like the Terran's behavior and all this stuff so interesting. Like it will still be worth the listen, even if you listen to
Yeah,
this first.
for
It's
sure.
also not that long. It's 14 episodes, and
Which
each
are,
one's
like 20
about 20
minutes,
Some
yeah.
of them are more, some of them are less, though.
Yeah.
I think the last one's only like 14 minutes or something.
something like that. It's not very long.
But yeah, it's not a very long listen, but it's really good.
So good.
So good. The audio editing is
Oh my
baller.
God.
The atmosphere is on point every
So
time.
many great laser sounds.
So many
So
good
many
laser
great
sounds.
explosion sounds.
Yeah.
So many great like just sounds of like we talk about Matt Wolf and what's Corey's last name?
Ooh, I don't remember. Forgot immediately.
Honor, how dare you? Yeah, so hats off to Matt Wolf and Corey Hawkins. They do a great job
Yeah.
as our leads, but also the other voice actors do a great job as well. Naxani is excellent.
Noxtani is really good, actually.
Everybody who plays the Sunverians does a really good job of sounding like kind of tall, but wide squidmen.
Yeah.
That's just very good. The sound design's great.
Yeah.
The writing's very good. I mean, it's a lot of times I'm thinking like the word choice. I'm like, okay, if I read this on a page, whatever. But then I hear Matt Wolf be like, and then I made new power plants, and I'm like, oh yes, you did.
Yeah.
You know.
It is like such boring stuff a lot of the time.
But
where
it's so-
like you made a power plant, okay, but somehow I'm interested.
It's so cool because it's, as a big nerd,
yeah.
it makes the world feel very real. Like
Yeah.
there's economic and just political decisions,
Mm-hmm.
which are not like things that we like to factor in a lot of times because they can be boring to like
Yeah.
narratives, but they make so much sense.
Yeah.
Like it's like in the background, but also in the foreground because you get to interact with people that are also interfacing with this
Yeah.
high level stuff.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's so very good.
It's rad.
On-
So well done.
Any last minute thoughts on it?
I think I got all the things. Dust Chrysalis, worth a listen. Gets a thumbs up from Podcastcast.
Wow, our very first thumbs up.
Yeah.
I was gonna.
If nothing else, there's a unanimous consensus that it's good,
Yeah.
which might not happen all that often.
I'm very excited for the episode where I just get to tell you how wrong you are.
Yeah.
You make me listen to something and I'll be like, this is awful.
Yeah.
I will be also if I make you listen to something and you don't like it, I will be crushed.
Awesome.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. This will be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be a great way to like lure people in where we're
Okay.
like amiable and like
I
nice
think-
to each other,
I think-
and then we're gonna be at each other's throats.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think people just want us to be at each other's throats already. They're like, get rid of all this nice.
Probably. Don't worry.
Yeah, I don't. We have yet to come up with an official rating system. I think Honor is against a rating system in general.
Am I?
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you. Yeah, I just want to make sure that, all human experience is quantifiable.
Yeah.
And so that the robots
I think we can be more interesting than just like 1 out of 10 or whatever.
I'm gonna say pod out of cast.
Pod out of cast.
It gets a POD from me.
Gets a POD from me. Yeah.
I'm gonna say. What's it? I'm gonna say 5 pods.
5 pods out of cast.
I don't even have that many ears. Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's a very good podcast. You should go listen to it.
Very good.
And you should also listen to this podcast. You should follow, or whatever, subscribe, whatever they have you do on whatever your podcast thing of choice.
Podpodcastcastpod@gmail.com.
We will read those emails, and in our roundtable episodes, we will answer them.
Yep.
Review us, all the other things. We'll see you next time.
We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't end it. Don't end it. Don't end it. Don't end it.
This has been Podpodcastcast.